Jadi pagi ini agendanya adalah sebenarnya mengikuti silent reading seperti biasa di Taman Menteng yang diselenggarakan oleh Silent Book Club Jakarta. Cuman karena di Taman Menteng saat ini itu lagi ada apa sih, art exhibition yang nggak tahu dari siapa, aku lupa. Jadi mau lihat dulu. Ini namanya Eskatologi Harapan. Ya, sorry Bu. Eskatologi itu bukannya tentang ilmu perkiamatan gitu ya? Cara bermain, pilih pertanyaan, pakai pertanyaan lalu pilih salah satu yang pertanyaan yang paling dekat dengan keadaanmu saat ini. Oh. Gue nggak ngerti sih maksudnya gimana. Halo Kai, welcome. Kita jadi harus mencari pertanyaan dulu katanya. Nah, ini pertanyaan yang bagus nih. Yang nomor 10, apakah keberuntungan akan segera menghampiriku atau apakah keinginanku akan benar-benar terwujud? Apa ya? Ini aja kali ya yang mau ini. Kalau mau, berarti ini kan di atas ini ada itu, ada ini lah. Jadi kita pilih yang mau yang nomor 10 nih. Mungkin semesta tidak sedang menjauh, hanya sedang menunggu kamu bergerak ke arah yang berbeda. Terus yang disuruh gua lempar ini apaan? Oh gitu, baiklah. Dan ini adalah tembok refleksi. Apa ya?
Cinta ini.
Gak tau guys, gak tau mau nulis apa, yuk kita lihat yang lain. Cuaca hari ini bukan sih, menurut gue udah panas ini segini nih. Jadinya so nggak bawa topi gue. Hai Zef, welcome. Ini apa? Dinas Kebudayaan. Oh, Dinas Kebudayaan. Oh, nah biasanya tuh kita silent readingnya di situ tuh. Cuman ya, di mana nih? Ini Taman Menteng. Ini di Taman Menteng. Nah, kita lihat lagi ada art exhibit, jadi kita sambil keliling aja ya. Gitu tuh. Gue males foto-foto. Tidak cantik saya tuh. Oh, ada ini sekarang nih tuh. Apa sih itu namanya? Apa ini udah ada dari dulu? Tuh, dia bergerak-gerak. Ya udah. Nah, biasanya nggak ada tuh yang kayak gini tuh. No, kalau yang itu ada ya. Yang taman bermain itu biasanya memang ada. Tapi kalau yang ini, oke, ini karena kita ada bebatuan, jadi kita coba lihat. Di sana ada exhibit apa? Ini tokoh wayang yang dari Mahabharata kan, yang 5 sekawan atau apa tuh? Seandainya aja gue bawa topi. Panas cuy. Apa nih? Tantio Arianto Rustam Aji, Wayang Dadah. Ntar guys, aku baca dulu. Oke. Ini apa nih? Ini kayaknya Erlangga nggak sih? apa Garuda gitu. Yang di tokohnya Mahabharata ini aku nggak. Kalau Mahabharata yang Jawa kan ada yang 5 sekawan itu tuh yang Petruk Bagong dan kawan-kawan tuh. Aku nggak terlalu ini, nggak terlalu apa namanya, nggak terlalu tahu gitu loh. Taunya versi India itu. Dulu baca buku yang Mahabharata Ramayana yang dari Nyoman Expanded gitu, karena itu Nyoman Expanded berarti kan nama orang Bali ya, berarti ya lebih mirip ke versi India itu gitu loh. Nah terus ada ini apa? Ada World Encyclopedia tapi matanya ditutup. Dan alasnya ada simbol-simbol dari sosial media. Coba kita lihat. Agus Widodo, FOMO or JOMO? Oh, oke. Menarik ini, apa namanya, interpretasi artnya. Sisi lain udah ada yang datang buat book reading, jadi kita lihat ke tempat lain dulu. Oh, biasa sini. Biasa gue di situ tuh kalau mau baca. Ini adalah apa? Kayak patung Arjuna, mirip-mirip Arjuna Wiwaha yang di depan gay itu nggak sih? Nggak mau lah. Yes, lapar gua. Di sini kita cari tempat buat mulai silent reading ya. Perjalanan Kusmei Santo. Halo Blade, welcome. Teman-teman welcome. Oke, yuk kita mulai mencari tempat untuk membaca. Enaknya di mana ya? Sini aja kali ya. Biasanya masanya kalau di sini ya pengalaman sih ya. Ini cepat kena matahari ntar kalau udah jam 11 tuh. Oke, wait ya. Aku mau pause dulu buat gelar tiker dulu. Atau gini deh, bentar. Punya ide. Bentar ya. Wah, di situ aja kali. Tapi ntar takut kena orang kalau gua live baca buku. Oke, sudah. Kamera sini nih, lebih bagus. Nah, Oke guys, jadi pada hari Minggu tanggal berapa sekarang? Tanggal Juli tanggal 26 Juli kita bakal lanjut baca ini nih. Gue belum banyak ini sih ya. Belum banyak kemajuan untuk membaca, soalnya 2 minggu kemarin 3 minggu kemarin tuh aku agak ribet untuk untuk belajar ujian sertifikasi. Cuman kocaknya adalah halo Melanung, welcome. Kocaknya adalah pas kemarin gue ujian, ternyata gue dapet soal yang tidak sesuai dengan apa yang gue pelajari. Dalam artian misalnya nih, gue ngambil sertifikasi modul A dan D gitu. Nah taunya ujian yang dikasih adalah soal modul C yang gue nggak bayar untuk itu, yang gue nggak dapat modulnya untuk itu, dan gue nggak daftar untuk itu gitu. Kayak kocak amat kan. Kayaknya mau nggak mau ujiannya di reschedule nih ke bulan November. Pakai emang. Oke, kita mulai. Margaret Atwood, The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, Chapter 13. There's a time to spare. This is one of the things I wasn't prepared for, the amount of unfilled time, the long parentheses of nothing. Time has white sound. If only I could embroider, weave, knit, something to do with my hands. I want a cigarette. I remember walking in art galleries through the 19th century. The obsession they had then with harems, dozens of paintings of harem, fat women lolling on divans, turbans on their head or velvet caps, being fanned with peacock tails, a eunuch in the background standing guard, studies of sedentary flesh painted by men who had never been there. These pictures were supposed to be erotic, and I thought they were at the time, but I see now what they were really about. They were paintings about suspended animation, about waiting, about objects not in use. They were paintings about boredom, but boredom is erotic when women do it for men. Halo Karel, welcome. Thank you for the repost ya Karel ya. Oh ya, buat yang nggak tahu, ini di Taman Menteng lagi ada acara pameran seni apalah gitu, nggak tahu, dari Dinas Kebudayaan. Dan biasanya memang tiap minggu keempat apa ketiga dari ada orang-orang berkumpul dari Silent Book Club untuk silent reading di sini. Gitu. Oke, lanjut. I wait, washed, brushed, fed like a prize pig. Sometime in the 80s, they invented pig balls for pigs who were being fattened in pens. Pig balls were large colored balls. The pigs rolled them around with their snout. The pig marketers said this improved their muscle tone. The pigs were curious. They liked to have something to think about. I read about that in Introduction to Psychology, that and the chapter on cage rats who had given themselves electric shock for something to do, and the one on the pigeons trained to peck a button which made a grain of corn appear. 3 groups of them. The first got 1 grain per peck, the second one 1 grain every other peck, the third was random. When the man in charge cut off the grain, the first group gave up quite soon, the second group a little later, the third group never gave up. They had pecked themselves to death rather than quit. Who know what worked? I wish I had a big one. Pagi kalau pagi, man of Solo. Man of Solo. Thank you for the likes ya kawan-kawan ya. Oke, aku sambil lanjut dulu. I lie down on the braided rug. You can always practice it on Lydia. Several sessions a day fitted into your daily routine. Arms at the side, knees bent, lift the pelvis, roll the backbone down, tuck again. Breathe in to the count of 5. Hold, expel. We do that in what used to be the domestic science room. We are now of sewing machine and washer dryers. In unison, lying on a little Japanese mat, a tape playing Les Silpides. That's what I heard now in my head as I lift, tilt, breathe. Behind my closed eyes, thin white dancers played gracefully among the trees, their legs fluttering like the wings of of Health Birds. Ini di mana nih? Taman Menteng. Taman Menteng. Man of Solo. Oh, kalian mau lihat bookmark aku nggak? Nih bookmark aku, bookmark ya orang bikin kan di Komifuro ya. Ini Gryffindor nih, bookmark Gryffindor. Gak penting tapi gue mau pameran aja. Punya gue yang Slytherin itu yang talinya ini udah putus nih. In the afternoon, we lay on our beds for an hour in the gymnasium between 3 and 4. They said it was a period of rest and meditation. I thought then they did it because they wanted some time off themselves from teaching us, and I know the aunts not on duty went off to the teacher's room for a cup of coffee or whatever they called by that name. But now I think that the rest was practice. They were giving us a chance to get used to blank time. A cat nap, Olivia called it, in her coy way. The strange thing is we needed the rest. Many of us went to sleep. We were tired there a lot of time. We were on some kind of pill or drug, I think. They put it in the food to keep us calm, but maybe not. Maybe it was the place itself. After the first shock, after you'd come to terms, it was better to be lethargic. You could tell yourself you were saving up your strength. I must have been there 3 weeks when Moira came. She was brought into the gymnasium by two of the aunts in the usual way while we were having our nap. She still had her other clothes on, jeans and blue sweatshirt. Her hair was short. She had the fight fashion as usual. So I recognized her at once. She saw me too, but she turned away. She already knew what was safe. There was a bruise in her left cheek, turning purple. The aunts took her to a vacant bed where the red dress was already laid out. She undressed, began to dress again, in silence. The aunts standing at the end of the bed, the rest of us watching from inside our slitted eyes. As she bent over, I could see the knobs on her spine. I couldn't talk to her for several days. We looked only small glances like ships. Friendships were suspicious, we knew it. We avoided each other during the mealtime lineups, in the cafeteria, and in the halls between classes. But on the fourth day, she was beside me during the walk, 2 by 2 around uh, the football field. We weren't given the white wings until we graduated. We only had the fells, so we could talk as long as we did it quietly and didn't turn to look at one another. The aunt the aunts walked at the head of the line and at the end, so the only danger was from the others. Some were believers and tried to report us. This is a loony bin, Moira said. So glad to see you, I said. Where can we talk, said Moira. Washroom, I said. Watch the clock and stall 2:30. That was all we said. It makes me feel safer that Moira is here. We can go to the washroom if we put our hands up, though there's a limit to how many times a day they mark it down on a chart. I watched the clock, electric and round, at the front over the green blackboard. 2:30 comes the testifying. Aunt Helena is here as well as Aunt Lydia because testifying is special. Aunt Helena is fat. She once headed a Weight Watchers franchise operation in Iowa. She's good at testifying. It's Janine telling about how she was gang raped at 14 and had an abortion. She told the same story last week. She seemed almost proud of it while she was telling. If it may not even be true, at testifying it's safer to make things up than to say you have nothing to reveal. But since it's Jenny, it's probably more or less true. But whose fault was it? Aunt Helena says, holding up one finger. Her fault, we chimed in unison. Who let them on? Aunt Helena beams, please with us. She did. Why did God allow such a terrible things to happen? Teach her a lesson, teach her a lesson, teach her a lesson. Last week, Janine burst into tears. Aunt Helena made her kneel at the front of the classroom, hands behind her back, where we could all see her red face and dripping nose. Her hair though blonde, her eyelashes so light they seem not there, the lost eyelashes of someone who's been in a fire, burned eyes. She looked disgusting, weak, squirmy, blotchy, pink like a newborn mouse. None of us wanted to look like that, ever. For a moment, even though we knew what was being done to her, we despised her. Cry baby, cry baby, cry baby. We mean it, which is the bad part. Loh, halo Om Telo dan Om Rezer. I used to think well of myself. I didn't then. That was last week. This week, Janine doesn't wait for us to jeer at her. It was my fault, she said. She says, it was my own fault. I let them on. I deserve the pain. Thank you. Buset, nih 343 banyak banget. Om Rezer. Udah. Jangan dikasih lagi. Belum kelar CFD. Lah kan CFD-nya di Depok. Ini di mana? Ini mah di Taman Menteng di Jakarta ini lagi ada apa tuh namanya? Kayak semacam pameran seni gitu. Jadi kita nyempil-nyempil aja nih di antara apa namanya? Di antara eksibit-eksibit ini. Tuh. Kok udah? Dirimu emang udah selesai lipatnya? Tadi katanya mau 1,5 jam lagi. Nih. Itu kayak itu loh kalau yang di Mahabharata. Ini kan kayak bentuk sorry ya kesorot ya. Ini kan kayak bentuk burung. Terus ini kayak kereta. Ini pakai Vespa sih, tapi itu kereta. Abis itu ada orang kan kayak yang di depan patung Arjuna Wiwaha yang di depan GI itu loh. Seru ya bisa gini, aku pengen duduk gini sambil makan nasi. Iya, makanya kan gue udah pernah bilang sama lu. Cari rerumputan, abis itu duduk aja gitu. Tapi banyak debu ya di situ ya. Ya, mencari satu pohon sawit yang sendirian gitu, abis itu nyender ke pohon asal nggak ada semut merahnya. Oke, lanjut. Very good, Janine says on Lydia. You are an example. I have to wait until this is over before I put up my hand. Sometimes if you ask at the wrong moment, they say no. If you really have to go, that can be crucial. Yesterday, Dolores wet the floor. 2 aunts hold her away, a hand under each armpit. She wasn't there for the afternoon walk, but at night she was back in her usual bed. All night we could hear her moaning off and on. What did they do to her? We whispered from bed to bed. I don't know. Not knowing make it worse. Wah, ini enak banget nih anginnya. Emang sih agak panas tapi anginnya sejuk. I raised my hand. On Lydia nods. I stand up and walk out into the hall as inconspicuously as possible. Outside the washroom, Aunt Elizabeth is standing guard. She nods, signaling that I can go in. This washroom used to be for boys. The mirrors have been replaced here too by oblongs of dull gray metal, but the urinals are still there on one wall, white enamel with yellow stain. Sendiri aja kak? Iya. Ya ada sih orang lain. Iya banyak debu dan ada tokai sapi. Sekitar rumah emang nggak ada ini halaman kecil gitu. Aku tahu di ayunan. Kenapa? Di ayunan. Kan masih bayi berumur 960 bulan jadi bisa lah main ayunan. Jadi iya aku lagi sendiri tapi yang ikut membaca itu ada banyak ya, nggak cuma gua doang. Random banget. Nah, kalau misalnya kegiatan para warga tuh, kalau yang jauh di situ ada yang lagi olahraga lah, main sepatu roda, main futsal gitu. Kelihatan nggak? Tuh. Nah, itu orang-orang yang lagi pada baca buku juga gitu. Bentar. Oke, lanjut lagi. They look oddly like babies' coffin. I marvel again at the nakedness of man's life. The shower right out in the open, the body exposed for inspection and comparison, the public display of privates. What is it for? What purpose of reassurance does it serve? The flashing of a badge, look, everyone, all is in order. I belong here. Why don't women have to prove to one another that they were women? Some form of unbuttoning, some split crotch routines, just as usual. A dog likes sniffling. The high school is old, the stalls are wooden, some kind of chipboard. I go into second one from the end, swing the door to. Of course, there are no longer any locks. In the wood, there are small hall at the back next to the wall, about waist height, souvenir of some previous vandalism or legacy of an ancient foyer. Everyone in the center knows about this hole in the woodwork. Everyone except the aunts. I'm afraid I'm too late, held up by Janine, testifying. Maybe Moira has been here already. Maybe she's had to go back. They don't give you much time. I look carefully down Aslan under the stall wall, and there are two red swoosh. But how can I tell who it is? I put my mouth to the wooden hole. Moira, I whisper. Is that you? She says. Yes, I say. Relief goes through me. God, do I need a cigarette? Says Moira. Me too, I say. I feel ridiculously happy. I sink down into my body as into a swamp, land where only I know the footing. Treacherous ground, my own territory. I become the earth I set my ear against for rumors of the future. Each twine, each murmur of slight pain, ripples of slough of matter, swellings and diminishing of tissue, the drawings of the flesh. These are signs, these are things I need to know about. Each month I watch for blood, carefully, for when it comes it means failure. I have felt what again to fulfill the expectation of others, which have become my own. I used to see my body as an instrument of pleasure, or a means of transportation, or an implement for the accomplishment of my will. I could use it to run, push buttons of one sort of or another, make things happen. There were limits, but my body was nevertheless a little, single solid one with me. Halo Milo, welcome. Kak, kemarin kau ikut house cup nggak? Yang HPMA itu? Now the flesh arranges itself differently. I'm a cloud congealed around a central object, the shape of a gear, which is hard and more real than I am, and glows red within its translucent wrapping. Inside it is a space huge as the sky at night, and dark and curved like that, though black-red rather than black. Pinpoints of light swell, sparkle, burst, and shrivel within it, countless as stars. Every month there's a moon, gigantic, round, heavy, and almond. It transits, pauses, continues on, and passes out of sight. And I see despair coming towards me like famine, to feel that empty again. I listen to my heart, wave upon wave, salty and red, continuing on, marking time. I'm in our first apartment in the bedroom. I'm standing in front of the cupboard, which has folding doors made of wood. Around me, I know it's empty. All furniture is gone. The floors are bare, no carpet even. But despite this, the cupboard is full of clothes. I think they're my clothes, but they don't look like mine. I've never seen them before. Maybe they're clothes belonging to Luke's wife, whom I've also never seen. Only pictures and a voice on the phone. Late at night, she was calling us crying, accusing before the divorce. But no, dear, my clothes are right. I need a dress, something. I need something to wear. I pull out dresses, black, blue, purple, jackets, skirts. None of them will do. None of them even fits. They're too big or too small. What is there behind me? I turn to see him. He won't look at me. He looks down at the floor where the cat is rubbing itself against his legs, mewing and mewing plaintively. It wants food. But how can there be any food if the apartment so empty? Look, I said. He doesn't answer. Maybe he doesn't hear me. It occurs to me that he may not be alive. Halo Kak Cil, welcome. Thank you for the heart nih, Kak Cil. Eh, Dirimu kesini yuk ke Taman Menteng temenin aku membaca. Nah, lanjut. I'm running with her, holding her hand, pulling, dragging her through the bracken. She is only half awake because of the pill I gave her, so she wouldn't cry or say anything that would give us away. She doesn't know where she is. The ground is uneven, rocks, dead branches, the smell of damp earth, old leaf. She can't run fast enough, but by myself I could run faster. I'm a good runner. Now she is crying. She's frightened. I want to carry her, but she would be too heavy. I have my hiking boots on, and I think when we reach the water, I'll have to kick them off. Will it be too cold? Will she be able to swim that far? What about Karen? We weren't expecting this. Quiet, I said to her angrily. I think about her drowning and this thought so sweet. Then the shots come behind us, not loud, not like firecrackers, but sharp and crisp, like a dry branch snapping. It sounds wrong. Nothing ever sounds the way you think it will. And I hear the voice, down! Is it a real voice or a voice inside my head or my own voice out loud? I pull her to the ground and roll on top of her to cover her. Shield her. Quiet! I say again. My face is wet, sweat or tears. I feel calm and floating, as if I'm no longer in my body. Close to my eyes, there's a leaf, red, turned early. I can see every bright flame. It's the most beautiful I've ever seen. I ease off. I don't want to smother her. Instead, I throw myself around her, keeping my hand over her mouth. There's breath and the knocking of my heart, like pounding at the door of a house at night, where you thought you would be safe. It's alright. I'm here, I say. Whisper. Please be quiet. But how can she be? She's too young. It's too late. We come apart. My arms are held and the edges go dark and nothing is left but a little window. A very little window, like the wrong end of the telescope, like the window on a Christmas card, an old one. Night and ice outside, and within a candle, a shining tree, a family. I can hear the bells, even sleigh bells. From the radio, old music, but through this window I can see small but very clear. I can see her going away from me through the trees which are already turning red and yellow, holding out her arms to me, being carried away. The bell wakes me, and then Cora knocking at my door. I sit up on the rug, wipe my wet face with my sleeve. Of all dreams, this is the worst. Okay, chapter 4, Household. Chapter 14. When the bell has finished, I descend the stairs, a brief wait in the eye of glass that hangs on the downstairs wall. The clock ticks with its pendulum, keeping time. My feet in their neat red shoes count their way down. The sitting room door is wide open. I go in, so far no one is here. I don't sit but take my place kneeling near the chair with the footstool where Serena Joy will shortly enthrone herself, leaning on her cane while she lowers herself down. Possibly she'll put a hand on my shoulder to steady herself as if I were a piece of furniture she's done it before. The rock is authentic. Some things in this room are authentic, some are not. For instance, two paintings, both of women, one on either side of the fireplace, both wore dark dresses like the ones in the old church, though a later date. The paintings are possibly authentic. I suspect that when Serena Joy acquired them, after it became obvious to her that she'd have to redirect her energies into something convincingly domestic, she had the intention of passing them off as ancestors. Or maybe they were in the house when the commander brought it. There's no way of knowing such things. In any case, there they hang. Their backs and mouths stiff, their breasts constricted, their faces pinched, their caps touched, their skin grayish white guarding the door with their narrow eyes. Hilarious welcome. Between them, over the mantel, there's an oval mirror flanked by two pairs of silver candlesticks, with a white china cupid centered between them, each arm around the neck of a lamp. The tastes of Serena Joy are a strange blend, heartless for quality, soft sentimental craving. There's a dried flower arrangement on either end of the mantelpiece and a vase of real daffodils on the polished marquetry and table beside the sofa. The room smells of lemon oil, heavy cloth, fading daffodils, the leftover smells of cooking that have made their way from the kitchen or the dining room, and of Serena Joy's perfume, Lily of the Valley. Perfume is a luxury, so she must have some private source. I breathe it in, thinking I should appreciate it. It's the scent of prepubescent girls, the gifts young children used to give their mothers. for Mother's Day. The smell of white cotton socks and white cotton coats of dusting powder, of the innocence of female fashion not yet given over to hairiness and blood. It makes me so it makes me feel slightly ill, as if I'm in a coast car on a hot muggy day with an older woman wearing too much face powder. This is what the sitting room is like, despite its elegance. I would like to steal something from this room. I would like to take some small things that short as tray, the little silver pillbox from the mantel perhaps, or a dried flower. Hide it in the fold of my dress or in my zippered sleeve. Keep it there until this ritual is over. Secret it in my room, under the bed, or in a shoe, or in a slit in the hard petit point fate. Caution. Every once in a while, I would take it out and look at it. It would make me feel the but just a bit too risky. My hands stay where they are, folded in my neck, ties together, here stuck underneath me, pressing up against my body. Head lowered in my mouth, there's the taste of toothpaste, baking, and plaster. I wait for the household to assemble. Household, that is what we are. The commander is the head of the household. The house is what he holds. To have and to hold, till death do us part. The hold of a ship. Hollow. Cora comes in first, then Rita, wiping her hands on her apron. They too have been summoned by the bell, they resonate. They have other things to do, the dishes for instance, but they need to be here. They all need to be here. The ceremony demands it. We are all obliged to sit through this, one way or another. Rita scowled at me before slipping in to stand behind me. It's my fault. This was of her time. Not mine, but my daddy's. If there's a difference, even the commander is subject to its whim. Rita scowls at me before slipping in to stand behind me. Enggak. Yang berikutnya ya. Nick walks in, nods to all three of us, looks around the room. He too takes his place behind me, standing. He's so close that the tip of his foot is touching my foot. Is this on purpose? Whether it is or not, we are touching. Two shape of leather. I feel my shoe soften. Blood flows into it. It grows warm. It becomes skin. I move my foot slightly away. Appreciate hurry up, says Cora. Halo kataku, welcome. Lagi pemandangannya.
Main bola ya.
Nah,
Main bola. Bola. Gede nih. Tendang bola.
mana ya? Wish he had to hurry up, says Cora. Hurry up and wait, says Nick. He laughed, moved his foot, so it's touching mine again. No one can see beneath the fold of my outspread skirt. I shift, it's too warm in here. The smell of stale perfume makes me feel a little sick. I move my foot away.
Akan jalan dulu ya.
We hear Serena's coming down the stairs along the hall. The muffled tap of her cane on the rug, the of the good foot. She hobbles through the doorway, glances at us, counting but not saying. She nods at me, but says nothing. She's one of her best dresses, sky blue with embroidery in white along the edges of the veil, flowers and fretwork. Even at her age, she still feels the urge to wet herself in flowers. No use for you, I think at my face, and maybe you can't use them anymore. You wither. They're the genital organs of plants. I read that somewhere once. She makes her way to the chair and puts two turns, lowers herself and lands ungracefully. She hoists her left foot onto the stool, fumbles in her sleeve pocket. I can hear the rustling, the flick of her lighter. I smell the hot scents of the smoke breathing. Late as usual, she says. We don't answer. There's a clatter as she drops on the lamp table, then a click, and the television set runs through its warm-up. A male choir with greenish yellow skin, the color needs adjusting. We are singing "Come to the Church" in the wild blue. Come, 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 come. Sync devices. Serena clicks the channel changer. Waves color zigzag. A garble of sound is the Montreal satellite station being off. Then there's a picture goddess with shining dark eyes leaning toward us across the desk. Usually they look a lot like businessmen. Serena gives him a few seconds and takes more. Several blank channels in the news. This is what she's been looking at. She leans back, inhales deep. Eye on contrarily forward. A child being allowed out late with the grown-ups. This is the one good thing about this evening. The evening, the ceremony. I'm allowed to watch the news. It seems to be an unspoken rule in this household. We always get here on time. He's always late. Serena always let us watch the news. As it is, almost if any of this true, it could be all too fake. I watch it anyway. I think it's totally believe it. I mean, first and foremost, the war seems to be going on in many places at once. With the fears, it's above, the taste of us, I wish to fix the color. The arching highlights since the voiceover, that the Minnesota Apocalypse from region has opened up a pocket of practice guerrilla with air support from the 21st Battalion of the Angels of Light. We are shown to her coverage, but only several wings painted on the side while the muscle of three exposed. Now a cross-shot of a prisoner with a stubborn dirty face. When by two angels, meaning they are with red uniforms, the prisoner accepts a series from one of the angels, pointing to his neck with his bound hand. It is a lopsided with a wound. The answer is saying something, but I don't hear it. I look into listener eyes, trying to dissect what he's thinking. He makes the comments of what the a show of defiance, or is it sabotage? Is he embarrassed of having been caught? These are only pictures of the video. Who wants that? Halo Bang Lexi, welcome. Possibly he's an actor. The anchorman comes on now. His manner is kindly, fatherly. He is out at us from the screen, looking with his tan and his white arch and candid eyes, white wrinkles around them, like everybody's ideal grandfather. But he's telling his level smart emphasis for our good. Everything will be alright soon, I promise. There will be peace. You must trust. You must go to sleep like a good children. It tells us what we long to believe. He's very comforting. I struggle against him. He's like an old movie star, I tell myself, with false teeth and a face job. At the same time, I swear toward him, like one happened hypnotized. If only it were true, if only I could believe. Now he's telling us that an underground espionage ring has been spread by a team of eyes working with an inside informant. The ring has been smuggling precious national resources over the border into Canada. 5 members of the heretical sect of Quakers has been arrested, he says more about. And more arrests are anticipated. Two of the Quakers appears at school, a man and a woman. They look terrified, but they are trying to preserve some dignity in front of the camera. The man has a large dark mark on his forehead. The woman's veil has been torn off, and her hair falls instant over her face. Both of them are about 50. Now we can see a city again from the air, which used to be different. Under the voice of the announcer, there's the proof of happening from the skyline columns of smoke ascend. This account of the children of the hand is continuing on screen to assist the reaction I expect on the screen. 3,000 have arrived this week in National Homeland 1 with another 2,000 in transit. How are they transporting that many people at once? Trains? Buses? We are not shown any picture of this. National Homeland 1 is in North Dakota. Lord knows what they are supposed to do. Once they get there, farm is the key. Selena Joy has had enough news. Impatiently, she clicks the button for a station change. comes up with an aging bass baritone whose cheek like anything others. Whispering hope is what he's singing. Serena turned him off. We wait, the clock in the hall ticks. Serena lights another cigarette. I get into the car. It's a Saturday morning. It is September and we still have a car. Other people have had to sell theirs. My name isn't on, but I have another name. Oh, which nobody uses now because it's forbidden. I tell myself it doesn't matter. Your name is like your telephone number, useful only to others. But when I tell myself it's wrong, it does matter. I keep the knowledge of this name like something hidden, some treasure I'll come back to dig up one day. I think of this name as brilliant. This name has an aura around it, like an animal, some charm that survived from an unimaginably distant past. I lie in my single bed at night with my eyes closed, and the name floats there behind my eyes, not what you English shining in the dark. It's a Saturday morning in September. I'm wearing my shining name. The little girl who is now dead sits in the backseat with her two best dolls, her stuffed rabbit, Maggie with age and love. I know all details. They are sentimental details, but I can't help that. I can't think about the rabbit too much, though I can start to cry here in on the Chinese rug, breathing in the smoke and that has been inside Selena's body. Not here, but now. I can do the cradle. She thought we were going on a picnic, and in fact there is a picnic basket on the back seat beside her with real food in it, hard-boiled eggs, thermos, and oil. We didn't want her to know where we were really going. We didn't want her to tell by mistake we felt anything if we were stopped. We didn't want to lay upon her the burden of our truth. I wore my hiking boots. We had on her sneakers. The laces of the sneakers had design on them. Red, purple, pink, and yellow. It was worn for the time of the year. The leaves were turning already. Some of them looked rough. I said, exciting. The sun shone, the sky was blue, the houses as we passed them looked comforting and ordinary. Each house as it was left behind vanishing into pastime, crumbling in an instant as if it had never been, because I would never see it again. So I thought that. We have almost nothing with us. We don't want to look as we are going anywhere far or permanent. We have the forged passport guaranteed for the price. We couldn't pay in money, of course, or put it on CompuCon, CompuCount. We used other things, some jewelry that was my grandmother's, a stamp collection book inherited from his uncle, such things can be exchanged for money in other countries. When we get to the fake border, we're important. We're just going over on a day trip. The fake visas are for what? A day. Before that, I'll give her a saving process. She will be assimilated for us. That way, she won't betray us. You can expect a child to rely convincingly. And I don't want her to feel frightened, to feel the fear that is now tightening my muscle. Between my spine, pulling me to a thought that I should stop at some ordeal. We'll spend the night at the motel, together, sleeping in the car, on the sidewalk, so there will be no suspicious question. Then first in the morning, drive over the bridge, easily just like getting to the supermarket. Return onto the freeway had more flowing, with not much traffic. Houston was traffic, gas was expensive and in short supply. Outside the city, we passed the first checkpoint. Day one is I looked at the license book does it well. The license matches the passport. We thought of back on the road, he squeezes my hand, glances over me. Your white as sheet, he says. That is how I feel. Like that too. I feel transparent. Surely they will be able to see some words. How will I be able to hold on to look to her when I'm so flat? So I feel as if there's not much left of me. They will slip from my arms, as if I make a smoke, as if I'm oblivious. Waiting for their eyes, don't think that way. Well, I would say think that way and you will make it happen. cheer up, says Bert. He's leaving a little too fast now. The adrenaline's gone to his head now. He is singing. Oh, what a beautiful moment, he sings. Even his singing worries me. We've been warned not to look too happy. Chapter 15. The commander knocks at the door. The knock is prescribed. The sitting room is supposed to be Serena Joy's territory. He is supposed to ask permission to enter it. She likes to keep him waiting. It's a little thing, but in this household, little things means a lot. Tonight, however, she doesn't even get that because before Serena Joy can speak, he's stepping forward into the room anyway. Maybe he's just forgotten the protocol, but maybe it's the little. Who knows what he said to him? Or the silver and plastic dinner table. Didn't say. The commander has on his black uniform. He looks like a semi-retired man general, but really general. But only at the first glance. The black man looks like a neat western vacation with his straight, neatly brushed silver hair, his stubble posture. As the chair, he looks like a vodka head in a glossy magazine is of time gone by. His manner is mild, his hands large with thick fingers and acquisitive thumb. His blue eyes uncommunicative, falsely innocuous. He looks us over as if taking inventory. One new woman in red, one suited woman in blue, two in green, standing a solitary man thin face in the background. He managed to appear puzzled, as if he can't quite remember how we all get in here, as if we are something he inherited like a Victorian palm organ, and he hasn't figured out what to do with us, what we are worth. He nods in the general direction of Serena Joy, who does not make a sound. He crossed the large leather chair reserved for him. He takes the key out of his pocket, fumbles with only a bound leather covered box that stands on the table beside the chair. Hello, Tenten. He inserts the key, opens the box, lifts out the Bible, an ordinary copy with black cover and gold at the edge pages. The Bible is kept locked up, the way people once kept the lockup, so the servant wouldn't steal it. It is an incendiary device. Who knows what we would make of it if we ever got our hands on it. We can be read to from it by him, but we cannot read. Our heads turned toward him. We are expectant. Here comes our bedtime story. The commander sits down and crosses his legs, watched by us. The bookmarks are in place. He opens the book, clears his throat a little as if he cares. Could I have a drink of water? He says to the air. Please, he adds. Behind me, one of them, Cora or Rita, leaves her space in the tableau and pads off towards the kitchen. The commander sits, looking down the commander's side, takes out a pair of reading glasses from his inside jacket pocket, gold rim slips them on. Now he looks like a showmaker in an old fairy tale book. Is there no end to his disguise of benevolence? We watch him, every inch, every flicker. Nah, begini biar nggak kelihatan orang-orang juga. Kasihan yang invasi privacy. Ini nih. To be a man, watched by women. It must be entirely strange to have him watching him all the time and wondering what's he going to do next. To have the flinch when he moves, even if it's a harmless enough move, to reach an ashtray perhaps, to have them sizing him up, to have them thinking he can do it, he won't do it, he'll have to do it. This last as if he were a garment, out of style or shoddy, It must nevertheless be put on because there's nothing else available. To have them putting him on, trying him on, trying him out, while he himself put them on, like a sock over a foot, onto the stalk of himself, his extra sensitive tongue, his tentacle, his delicate stalk, Truck's eye, which exude, expands, winces, and savors back into himself when touched, warning, grows big again, both to a little at the tip, traveling forward as if along a leaf into the of its vision. To achieve vision in this way, this journey into the darkness is composed of a woman who can see in darkness while he himself stands blindly forward. She watches him from within. We are all watching him. It's one thing we can really do, and it's not for nothing. If he were to falter, fail, or die, what would become of us? No wonder he's like a boot. Heart on the outside, giving shape to a curve of tender fruit. That's just a wish. I've been watching him for some time, and he's becoming everything of softness. But watch out, Commander. I tell him in my head. I've got my eye on you. One false move, and I'm dead. Still, it must be hell to be a man like that. It must be just fine. So, it must be very sad. The water appears in the commander's chest, thinking pieces, or a project into faces. The commander pauses, looking down, scanning the page. He takes his time, as if unconscious of us. He's like a man playing with a stick. Behind a restaurant window, but you not to see the eye. I stretching for no recognition of him from his elbow. Feeling towards him with the island, feeling to his madness. He has something we don't have. He has the word. How we squander it, what? The commander, as if reluctantly begins to listen to it a bit. Maybe he's merely bored. It's the usual story. Usual stories. That to Adam, that to Noah, he fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Then comes the moldy old Rachel and Leah stuck had jumped into us. My children almost have died. Am I in God's stead who had withheld from thee the fruit of the womb? Behold, man of your heart, since I bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by heart, and so on and so forth. We had read it to us after breakfast, as we sat in the high school cafeteria, eating porridge with cream and brown sugar. You're getting the best, you know, said Anna. There's a war going on in Incarnation, where sparkers you think of as if revolting a kitten. Naughty puss. For lunch, it was the Beatitudes. Blessed be this, blessed be that. They prayed with full faith, and so not even an hour would be guilty for the sin of reading. The first was an ass. Blessed be the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are the merciful, blessed are the meek, blessed are the silent. I knew they made that up. I know it won't be his wrong. They left things out too, but there is no way of checking. Blessed be those that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Nobody said it. I checked the clock during the third came pears with cinnamon started for lunch and looked for Moira in her place. 2 tables over. She's gone away. I put my hand up. I'm excused. We don't do this too often, and I was at the day. In the washroom, I go to the second floor store as usual. Are you there? I whisper. A large and flat and twice as ugly, Moira whispered back. What have you here? I asked her. Nothing much. I've got to get out of here. I'm doing that. I feel panic. No, no, Moira. I say, don't try it. Not on your own. I'll fix it. They sent an ambulance. I say. You'll only get as far as the hospital. At least it'll be a change. I won't have to listen to that old age. They'll find you out. Don't worry, I'm good at it. When I was a kid in high school, I got a vitamins that I got scurvy. In the early stages, they can diagnose it. Then you can start it again and you'll be fine. My vitamin is more at home. I couldn't stand the thought of her not being here with me. For me. Listen to play with you, the ambulance, think about it. They must be staff for each ship. They are even allowed to put their hands in their pocket. The possibilities are in India, time's up, said the voice from the doorway after that. First retired, two of Moira fingers appeared to the whole the world. It was only large enough for two fingers. I touched my own fingers to them, but they hadn't let go. And Leah said, God has given me my hire because I have given my maiden to my husband, says the commander. He lifts the book focus. It makes an exhausting sound. Padded door shutting by itself at a distance. About the sound suggests the softness of the 200 pages. How they would feel under the fingers, soft and bright like a pierre or they pink and powdery from the time before would get in booklets for taking the shine off your nose and in those stores that sold candles and soap in the shapes of things, seashells, mushroom, vegetable paper like petals. The commander sits with his eyes closed for a moment as if it tires. He works long hours, he has a lot of responsibilities. Serena has begun to cry. I can hear her behind my back. It isn't the first time. She always does this the night of the ceremony. She is trying not to make a noise. She is trying to preserve her dignity in front of us. The upholstery and the rugs muffled her, but we can hear her clearly despite it. The tension between her lack of control and her attempt to suppress it is horrible. It's like a flood in church. I feel as always the urge to laugh, but not because I think it's funny. The smell of her time spreads over us and we pretend to ignore it. The commander opens his eyes, notice Ron sees this. Now we will have a moment of silent prayer. We will ask for a blessing of a full success in our futures. I bow my head and close my eyes. I listen to the held breath and the almost inaudible gasps, the shaking going on behind my back. How she must hate me, I think. I cry silently. Noite te bastardis cavorundor. I don't know what it means, but it sounds right. And it will have to, because I don't know what else I can say to God. Not as they used to say at this juncture. A scratch writing on my cupboard wall floats before me, left by an unknown woman in the face of Moira. I suddenly go out to the ambulance on a stretcher carried by two windows. Especially people out of fancy. Apa lagi nih? Okay. A weaver, she followed her lips, even if it is they say. I was having dinner that evening at butter balls and hash browns. My table was near the window. I could see out. As far as the front gates, I saw the ambulance come back. No siren this time. One of the angels talked with the guard. The guard went to the building. The ambulance stayed parked. The angels stood with his back toward us, as they had been taught to do. Two of the arms came out of the building with the guard. They went around to the back. They hauled Moira out, dragged her through the gate, and up the front step, holding her under the armpits, one on each side. She was having trouble walking. I stopped eating. I couldn't eat. By this time, all of us on my side of the table were staring out of the window. The window was greenish with the chicken wire mesh they used to put inside glass. Lydia said, "Eat your dinner." She went over and pulled down the blind. Hello, welcome back, man of Solo. They took her into a room that used to be the science lab. It was a room where none of us ever went willingly. Afterwards, she couldn't walk for a week. Her feet would not fit into her shoes. They are too swollen. It was the feet that do for a first offense. They used steel cables, fight at the ends. After that, the hands. They didn't care what they did to your feet and hands, even if it was permanent. Remember, said Lydia, for our purpose, your feet and your hands are not essential. Moira lay on her bed for example. She shouldn't have tried it, not in the English, Amma said. from the next flat over. We had to carry her to classes. We saw extra paper of packets of sugar for her. From the other cafeteria at mealtimes, Ma brought them to her at night, handing them from back to back. Probably she didn't need the sugar, but it was the only thing we could find to steal, to give. I'm still trying, but what I'm seeing is Moira feet. The way they look after they broke her back. Her feet did not look like feet at all. They look like the drowned feet, swollen and boneless except for the color. They look like rats. Oh God, no ite kay basta dispato. It is what we have in mind. The commander clears his throat. This is what he does to let us know that in his opinion it's time we stop playing. For the eyes of the Lord ran to and fro throughout the whole earth, to know himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect towards him. He says, "Is the sign enough? We stand up, we are dismissed." Chapter 16. The ceremony goes as usual. I lay on my bed, fully clothed, except for the healthy white cotton under the drawers. What I could see, if I were to open my eyes, would be the large white canopy of Serena Joy's outside, a colonial-style four-poster bed, suspended like a sagging cloud above us. A cloud streak with tiny drops of silver rain which, if you look at them closely, would turn out to be four-petaled flowers. I would not see the carpet, which is white, or the split curtains and skirted dressing table with its silver black brush and mirror set, only the canopy, which managed to suggest at the same time by the gauziness of its fabrics, its heavy downward curve, both ethereality and moral. Or the sail of a ship, big-bellied sails they used to say in poems, bellying, propelled forward by a swollen belly. A mist of lily of the valley surrounds us, chilly crisp almost, it's not warm in this room. Above me, on my head,
Assalamualaikum
the
warahmatullahi
joy is arranged, its breath.
wabarakatuh.
Her legs are apart, hello between them. My head on her stomach, her pubic bone under the base of my skull, her thighs on either side of me, she too is fully clothed. My arms are raised, she holds my hands each of mine in each of hers. This is supposed to signify that we are one flesh, one being. What it really means is that she is in control of the process and does the product, if any. The wrist of her left hand cut into my fingers, it may or may not be the revenge. My red skirt is hitched up to my waist. Don't know how yet. It. The commander is fucking. What he is fucking is the lower part of my body. I do not say making love because this is not what he is doing. Operating to what? Ya udah pada di bagian itu anjir. Because it would imply to people and only one is involved. That's the problem. Nothing is going on here that I haven't signed up for. There wasn't a lot of choice, but there was some, and this is what I chose. Therefore, I lie still and picture the unseen canopy over my head. I look Queen Victoria's advice to my daughter. Close your eyes and think of England. But this is not true. I wish he would hurry up. Maybe I'm crazy and this is some new kind of therapy. I wish it were true. Then I could get better and this would go away. Serena Joy grips my hand as if it is she, not I, who's being fucked, and if she finds it either pleasurable or painful. The commander fucks with a regular tool for marching stroke on and on like a tap dripping. He's preoccupied like a man humming to himself in the shower without knowing he is humming like a man who has other things on his mind. It's as if he's somewhere else, waiting for himself to come, drumming his fingers on the table while he waits. There's an impatience in his rhythm now. But isn't this everyone like trained into woman at once? They used to say that. Exciting, they used to say. No way. What's going on in this room on the Serena Joyce Fairy Canopy is not exciting. It has nothing to do with the passion or love or romance or any of those other notions. we used to titillate ourselves with. It has nothing to do with sexual desires, at least for me, and certainly not for Selena. Arousal and orgasm are no longer thought necessary. They would be a symptom of frivolity merely like jazz garters or beauty spots, superfluous distraction for the right mind. Outdated. It seems odd that women would spend such time and energy reading about such things, thinking about them, worrying about them, writing about them. They are so obviously recreational. This is not recreation even for a commander. This is serious business. The commander too is doing his duty. If I were to open my eyes asleep, I would be able to see him. His not unpleasant face hanging over my torso, with a few strands of his silver hair falling perhaps over his head. Intent on his inner journey, the dead place is hurrying towards it recedes as in a dream at the same speed with which approaches it. I would see his open eyes. If he were better looking, would I enjoy this more? At least he's an improvement on the previous one. What? Oh, smelled like a church cloakroom in the rain, like your mouth when the dentist starts picking at your teeth like a nostril. The commander is that smell of mothball, or is this other some primitive form of aftershave? Why does he have to wear the stupid uniform? But would I like his white stuff to nobody any better? Kissing is forbidden between us. This makes it bearable. One detaches oneself, one discards. He comes at last with a stick of ground as of Lady Serena Joy, who has been holding her breath expelsively. The commander, who has been propping himself on his elbow, away from our combined bodies, doesn't permit himself to sink down into us. He rests a moment, withdraws receipt, zippers, he nods, then turns and leaves the room, closing the door with exaggerated care behind him, as if both of us are his ailing companion. There's something hilarious about this, but it would be enough. Serena Joy, let's go off my head. You can get up now, she says. Get up and get up. She is supposed to have me rest for 10 minutes with my feet on a pillow to improve chances. This is meant to be time of silent meditation for her, but she's not in the mood for that. There's something in her voice as if the touch of my flesh sickens and contaminates her. I untangle myself from her body, stand up. The juice of commanders runs down my legs. Oh my god, this is disgusting. Before I turn away, I see her straighten her blue skirt and clench her legs together. She continues lying on the bed, gazing up at the canopy above her, stiff and straight as an effigy. Which of us is it worse for, her or me? The chapter 16 of this book, The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, really describe the intercourse. Not really explicit, but it's quite enough to make me a little bit nauseous. Okay, let's go. Chapter 17. This is what I do when I'm back in my room. I take off my clothes and put on my nightgown. I took I look for the pad of butter in the toe of my right shoe. When I hit it after dinner, the cupboard was too warm, the butter is semi-liquid. Much of it has sunk into my paper napkin. I rub it in. Now I'll have butter in my shoe. Not the first time because whenever there's butter on my laundry, I save some in this way. I can get the most of butter off the shoe lining with washcloth or some toilet paper from bottom to top. I rub the butter over my face, walked it into the skin of my hand. There are no longer any hand lotion or face cream, not wax. Such things are considered vanities. We are containers. It's only the inside of our bodies that are important. Mhm. The outside can become hard and wrinkled for all they care, like the shell of a nut. This was a big thing of the wives, this absence of hand lotion. They don't want us to look for them. They are very enough experience. The bottom is a good element for Rachel, the red center, because they are so much fun. My predecessor in this room, my friend with the freckles and the good job, must have done this too. This button, we all do. As long we do this button our skin to protect itself, we can believe we will someday get out. That we will be touched again in love or die. And we have ceremony for all private ones. The butter is greasy and it will go rancid and I will smell like an old cheese, but at least it's organic as they used to say. To such the touch of the descent. Bothered, I lie on my single bed flat like a piece of stone. I can't sleep. In the semi-dark, I stared up at the blind cluster eye in the middle of the ceiling, which stares back down at me, and even though I can't see, there's no breeze. My white curtains are like gauze bandages, hanging gloomily in the aura cast off by the searchlight that illuminates this house at night. Or is this I fold back the sheet, get carefully up on silent bare feet in my nightgown, go to the window like a child I want to see. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow, the sky is clear but hard to make out because of the searchlight. But yes, in the obscure sky, the moon does float. Really? A wishing moon? A sliver of vision, not a goddess of wind. The moon is a stone and the sky is full of deadly hard water. Oh God, how beautiful anyway. I want to look here so badly. I want to be held and taught in a way. I want to be valued in ways that I know. I want to be more than free. I repeat my former name to the concept of what I want to be, how others saw me. I want to steal something. In the hall, the night lights on, the long space glows gently blue. I walk one foot, set carefully down, then the other without creaking along the runner as if on forest floor, making my heart quake through the night house. I am out of place, disentangling like that. Down past the fish eyes on the hall wall, I can see my white shape, extended body, hair down my back like a moon. My eyes gleaming. I like this. I'm doing something on my own. The active is it a dance? Tense. What I would like to steal is a knife from the kitchen, but I'm not ready for that. I reach the sitting room, doors ajar slip in, with the door a little open, a squeak of wood, but who's near enough to hear? I stand in the room, letting the pupils of my eyes dilate like a cat of owls. Hot perfume, hot dust fills my nostrils. There's a sadness of light coming from the cracks around the closed drapes. From the searchlight outside, there are two men's topless patrol. I've seen them from above, from behind my curtains. Dark shapes, cutouts. Now I can see outlines gleam from the mirror, the bases of the legs, the faces, the sofa looming like a cloud of dust. What should I take? Something that will not be missed in the wood and not be magic flower. A withered daffodil, not one from the dried arrangement. The daffodil will soon be thrown out. They are beginning to smell, along with Selena's tail fumes, the stench of her knitting. I go, find an end paper, here. There's a thing, I must have left something. I find the daffodils straight at the edges, where they dried, lean towards the stem, use my fingers for keys. I will press this somewhere. Under the mattress, it is there for the next moment, the one who comes after me to find. But there's someone in the room behind me. I hear the step white as mine, the clinking of the same floor door. The door closes behind me with a little book cutting the light. I face what was a mistake. I'm snow in moonlight, even in dark. Then a whisper, "Don't scream, it's alright." As if I'd scream, and as if it's alright. I turn a shape, that's all. The gleam of saffron devoid of color. He steps toward me. What are you doing in here? I don't answer. He's too illegal here with me. He can give me away. No, I him. For the moment, we're mirrors. He put his hand on my arms, forced me against him. Anjir. His mouth on mine. What else come from such a anjir? Halo Bang Reza, welcome back. Anjir. Okay, both of us shaking. How I'd like to in Sana's parlor with the dried flowers on the Chinese carpet. His thin body, a man entirely unknown. It would be like shouting, it would be like shooting someone. My hands goes down. How about that? I could unbutton and then, but it's too dangerous. He knows it. We push each other away. Okay, not far. Too much trust, too much risk, too much already. I was coming to find you. Yeah, He says breathes almost into my ear. I want to reach up, taste his skin. He makes me hungry. Astaga. His fingers move, feeling my arms under the nightgown sleeve as if his hands won't listen to a reason. It's so good. It's to be touched by someone, to be felt so greedily, to feel so greedy. Look, you'd know, you'd understand if you hear in another body bullshit. Why? I said. Is it so bad for her? Eh, anginnya kenceng, tapi adem. Ntar dulu.
Hai.
Uh,
Nena.
Why, I say, is it so bad for him for that he take the risk of coming to my room at night? Oh, didatengin. I think of the hangman hook on the wall. I can hardly stand up. I have to get away back to the stairs before I dissolve entirely. His hands on my shoulder now, held still heavy, pressing down on me like warm lead. Is this what I would die for? I'm a coward. I hate the thought of pain. He told me to, Nick says. He was to see you in his office. What do you mean? I said. The commander, it must be. See me? What does he mean by see? Hasn't he had enough of me? Tomorrow, he said, just audible. In the dark parlor, we moved away from each other, slowly as if pulled towards each other by a force current, pulled apart also by hands equally strong. I opened the door, turned the knob, fingers on cold porcelain open. Is all I can do. Agak pusing aku. Ini chapter 16 itu ngomongin tentang si Offrednya udah gitu sama si komandernya. Terus sekarang chapter 15-nya hampir aja terjadi sama bukan gimana sih, sama pengawalnya si commander. Tuh kayak novel dewasa. Chapter 18. I lied in bed, still trembling. You can wet the rim of a glass and run your fingers around the rim and it will make a sound. This is what I feel like, this sound of glass. I feel like the words shatter. I want to be with someone. Lying in bed with Luke, his hand on my rounded belly. The three of us in bed, she kicking, turning over within me. Thunderstorm outside the window, that's why she's awake. They can hear, they sleep, they can be startled. Even there is the shooting of the heart like waves on the shore around them. A flash of lightning, quite close. Luke's eyes go wide for an instant. Gimana? Bentar. Oh, I'm not frightened. We are wide awake. The rain hits now. We will be slow and careful. If I thought this would never happen again, I would die. But this is wrong. Nobody dies from lack of sex. It's lack of love we die for. From. There's nobody here I can love. All the people I could love are dead or some elsewhere. Who knows where they are or what their names are now? They might as well be nowhere, as I am for them. I too am a missing person. From time to time I can see their faces against the dark, flickering like the image of saints in old foreign cathedrals. In the light of the draught-lit candles you would like to pray by, kneeling your forehead against the wooden railing, hoping for an answer. I can conjure them, but they are mirages only. They don't last. Can I be blamed for wanting a real body to put my arms around? Without it, I too am disembodied. I can listen to my own heartbeat against the bed spring. I can stroke myself under the dry white sheet in the dark, but I too am dry and white. Hard granular, it's like running my hand over a plate full of dried rice. It's like snow. There's something dead about it, something deserted. I am like room where things once happened and now nothing does, except the pollen of the weeds that grow up outside the window, blowing in as dust across the floor. Here is what I believe. I believe Luke is laying face down in the thicket, a tangle of bracken, the brown fronds from the last year under the green ones just unrolled, or brown hemlock, perhaps. Although it's too early for the red berries, what is left of him, his hair, the bones, the Patewood's wool shirt, green and black, the leather belt, the work boots, I know exactly what he was wearing. I can see his body in my mind, bright as photograph on a full-color advertisement. From the ancient magazine, though not his face not so well. his face beginning to fade, possibly because it wasn't always the same. His face had different expressions, his clothes did not. I prayed at the hole, or two or three. There was more than one shot. They were close together. I prayed that at least one hole is neatly, quickly, and finally through the school. What? Through the place where our pictures were, so that there would have been only one flash or of darkness or pain. Do I hope, like the word truth? Only the one, then silence. Anjir, I believe this. I also believe Luke is sitting up in a rectangle somewhere, gray cement, on a ledge or edge of something, a bed or chair. God knows what he was wearing. God knows what they put him in. God isn't the only one who knows, so maybe there could be some way of finding out. He hasn't shaved for a year, though they cut his hair short whenever they feel like it, or at least they say. I'll have to revise that. If they cut the hair for least, they cut the beard too, you would think. Anyway, they don't do it well. The hair is ragged, the back of his neck is neat. That's hardly the worst. He looks 10 years older, 20. He's been like an old man. His eyes are puffed. Small purple veins have burst in his cheek. There's a car. No, a wound. It isn't healed. It isn't yet healed. Rapat, Bang Tenten. Aku mau minum dulu deh. A wound, it isn't yet healed. The color of tulips near the stem and down the left side of his face where the flesh split recently. The body is so easily damaged, so easily disposed of. Water and chemicals is all it is. Hardly more to it than a jellyfish drying on sand. He finds it painful to move his hands, painful to move. He doesn't know what he's accused of. A problem. There must be something, some accusation. Otherwise, why are they keeping him? Why isn't he already dead? He must know something they want to know. I can imagine. He hasn't already said what whatever it is. I would. He is surrounded by smell. His own, the smell of coop up animal in a dirty cage. I imagine him resting because I can bear to imagine him at any other time, just as I can imagine anything below his collar, above his cuff. I don't want to think what they've done to his body. Does he have shoes? No. And the floor is cold and wet. Does he know I'm here, alive, and that I'm thinking about him? I have to believe so. In reduced circumstances, you have to believe all kinds of things. I believe in thought transference now, vibration in the ether, that sort of junk I never used to. I also believe that they didn't catch him or catch up with him after all, that he made it, reached the bend, swam the river, crossed the border, dug himself up on the far shore, an island with chattering, found his way to a nearby farmhouse, was allowed in with suspicion at first, but then when they understood who he was, they were friendly, not the sort of who would turn him in. Perhaps they were Quakers. They will smuggle him inland from house to house. The woman made him some hot coffee and gave him a set of her husband's clothes. I picture the clothes. It comforts me to dress him warmly. He made contact with the others. There must be a resistance, a government exile. Someone must be out there taking care of things. I believe in the resistance as I believe there can be no light without shadow, or rather no shadow unless there is also light. There must be a resistance, or where do the criminals come from? On the television? Any day now there may be a message from him. It will come in the most unexpected way. From the least likely person, someone I never would have suspected, under my tag on the dinner tray, stepped into my hand as I reached the tokens across the counter in all flash. OTW ya nggak apa-apa sih. OTW aja nih ke Taman Menteng. Tapi aku udah sih udah mau selesai. Soalnya udah mau jam 11 udah panas nih. The message will say I must have patience. Sooner or later he will get me out and we will find her wherever they put her. She'll remember us and we will be all three of us together. Meanwhile, I must endure, keep myself safe for later. What has happened to me, what's happening to me now won't make any difference to him. He loves me anyway. He knows it isn't my fault. The message will also says that also it's this message which may never arrive that keeps me alive. I believe in the message. These things, the things I believe can all be true, though one of them must be. But I believe in all of them, all three of version of look at one and the same time. This contradictory way of believing seems to me right now the only way I can believe anything. Whatever the truth is, I will be ready for it. This is this also is a belief of mine. This also may be untrue. One of the gravestones in the cemetery near the earliest church has an anchor on it and an hourglass, and the words in hope. It hope. Why did they put that above a dead person? Was it the corpse hoping, or those still alive? Does look hope? Oke, kita akan akhiri sampai di sini karena udah jam 11, udah lumayan panas nih. Jadi memang SBC-nya juga sampai jam 11. So, thank you very much yang udah pada datang, yang udah pada nge-gift, yang udah pada menanyakan ini tempatnya di mana. Tempatnya ini adalah di Taman Menteng yang lagi ada kegiatan book club dan ada art exhibit dari ini dinas kebudayaan dinas apanya Jakarta lagi tuh. So, I'll see you in the next stream and bye bye.